under the pale moonlight. Vinny and Phil bring the shadows to life. Tales of the ghostly whispers in the night. Bigfoot and aliens ready for the strife. The darkness thickens, the air is cold. Haunting stories waiting to unfold. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. EVPs echo through the haunted trees. Demons lurk as the chill hits with ease. But the caps rolling with guests to amaze. Cryptids and spirits were lost in the haze. Northmen in the foliage, watch your back. Dogmen prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. Moving in the foliage, watch your back. Thunder prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. So tune in next week, fear in your soul. Darkness awaits, let the stories unfold.
The Supernatural Sundays, May 17th edition. And we have a special guest tonight, Miss Dana, is it Noten? Or not? Nogin. Okay, the T is. Okay, learned something.
It's different. It's okay.
What ethnicity is that spelling from?
That is from German.
Ah, okay.
It's a German name. Yeah.
I like the German
Yeah.
pretzels
They-
and the I like that horseradish mustard when you dip it in the pretzel and take a bite. You can't breathe. The horseradish is one of my favorites.
I really, to be honest, I don't know much about the German history or anything, so
Well, I think we all know what
I'm
happened in
kind
World
of
War II. So
right.
over there, I'd like
Yeah.
to go. My grandpa was a sniper out of Alberta, Canada, and he landed at Juno Beach in Normandy. So uh, I've always thought about going over and checking it out. But
Yeah, my husband wants to go over and drink some of the beer.
go around September, and they have the Oktoberfest. You get some of that Spaten. That's what I would recommend, or some Wursteiner.
Okay, I'll let him
The
know.
braised pork shanks are pretty good. I'm trying to think what else. They got a German restaurant in Nashville down here. I always take my Uncle Rick if he's watching down there, and he always gets the big wiener every time. I'm like, what is it with you, Uncle Rick? Every time we go, he gets the giant German hot dog thing. So it's pretty crazy. So you're out of Loveland, Colorado, just down the hill from the Stanley there.
Uh-huh.
And you are a psychic and a photo and card, like tarot card reader. And you also have your
Oracle.
podcast, Oracle. Okay. So what's the
Yeah.
difference between a regular card reader and an oracle?
Uh, tarot is more of it has its basic. Um, I'm still learning a little bit about tarot, but it's got like a basic reading, so it has like certain meanings to it, which is it has lots of information to it. Oracle is more used with your psychic ability. It's your psychic coming through and giving the message through the card. So it's tarot is kind of a it has meaning to it with definition with it. So you read the card with like a set definition. Does that
So
make
then,
sense?
so somebody's just reading cards, they could lay them out and go, okay, here's what the standard definition means. But if you're oracle, you're like, here's what I'm getting telepathically, basically, with my interpretation based on what the message I'm getting sent for this card is this. I was thinking the oracle,
Right.
like on the show The Matrix. They had the oracle. And I think it was the lady in the apartment. It's always like trying to help him figure stuff out. It's a crazy
Yeah,
movie.
you can use your psychic in with the tarot also. But the tarot has like more of a defined meaning per card. But it brings it out. There's like you could go all out with the tarot also. Yeah.
I think the last one I had a reading done, I think it was back around February, and it came up all fives. Every card was fives. And the lady that was reading them interpreted that as big change coming. So I'm looking for a job right now. So I guess that was the big change I was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 is the number of change. So, yeah, you would have something coming up. It could be a very strong thing coming up since there was so many fives that showed up. So, it sounds like you have something very strong coming up, something a lot more into uh, your path. So it's going to be more zeroed into where you really want to be at. It's not like a side job that is like, yeah, I'm here just because. It sounds like you're on your path and you're going forth.
I've been told if you have a deja vu moment, that also means you're on the right path. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
I can see that. Yeah, because your deja vu is kind of like you're in reality with a different realm and you're crossing those paths. So it's like this realm is coming in this way, you're coming in this way, and you're meeting up and you're going in that path. So you're seeing things twice, kind of like thing. Yeah.
That makes sense. Your psychic
Hmm.
abilities, were you born with that, or did it just like something happen, triggered it, start opening up, or
It was work.
Work.
It's work. I had to go through a lot of my meditations, and sometimes it comes in when it wants to. I don't quite have the control over it at this point. So
So
when things
when
happen,
things
it's just
happen,
like a
it's like a
trigger. It
trigger.
just
It just
happens.
happens.
I got a guy on my team, Gary. He's what you would call a clairaudient. He can hear things
Hmm.
communicating with him, but the only control he has is he can turn it off and on. He shuts it off when he tries to go to bed, so he doesn't have like all these people telling him good night. And but he don't have any control of what he gets or when he gets it. When we go on investigation, sometimes as soon as we pull up the car, he'll get a message. And then he may not get nothing the rest of the night. But, he didn't know he had this ability early on in life, and I think he just kind of, I don't know if he just like woke up one day and he could start hearing stuff or some. I'm trying to remember if something happened. Sometimes it'll be like a traumatic event or something, an accident or an injury or something. When you come out of it, you're have this ability. And then I know other people that you've been seeing spirits and talking to them their whole life. And they, they didn't understand why everybody else couldn't see them. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had two experiences when I was around 6 years old. And then I had nothing that I recall until I started working. When I started working, then I started seeing, like, the first thing noticed was I was working a night job as a security officer. And I looked up in my mirror and there was the face of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh wow.
That was my first one. Yeah, so, working night job, you're rubbing your eyes, you're blinking a lot, and I'm looking all over trying to see what would cause that. And I couldn't find anything, but Sherlock Holmes was in that mirror. I mean, cap, pipe, the whole works.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That is a pretty
Yeah.
bizarre.
So, yeah.
Thinking to be
So
like your
that
grandma.
start I don't know who it was, but except for Sherlock Holmes, and as far as I
Yeah.
know, Sherlock Holmes is a fiction non or what fiction nonfiction made up character.
He usually has his pipe and his magnifying glass and that weird looking hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his hat and the pipe in the mirror.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I used to drive.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I drove trucks. I did a lot of the night driving because one, I wanted to listen to Art Bell. Two, I was figuring if I was going to see any weird stuff, it would be of the night. So I always did all the night driving. And driving around 5:30 in the morning, my brain was telling me that it's when I was like your circadian rhythm kicks in. It's like sometimes I'd have to pull over and take a little nap, and then keep going. But it's like your brain tells you you're not supposed to be awake right now. You start seeing weird stuff, it's time to stop. But I didn't have that happen. But I've talked to guys that um, they'll see stuff, like in the road or whatever, and they just got to stop. 'Cause at that point, you better go take a nap or stuff start going. Your brain's going to start spinning at that point. You've been up too long, so yeah, I
That's
can see.
close to
I
the
never saw
waking
Sherlock
hour.
Holmes, but yeah, never did see Sherlock Holmes. But I think I was driving in a pouring rain one night. And I thought I saw a lady walking on the shoulder, and I looked in my mirror and I didn't see her, and I slowed down. I didn't see it. I saw her going, but after I passed her, I didn't see anything. And I was like, I just kept going. I was like, there's nothing there. I'm like, I need to stop.
Yeah, but about between the hours of 3 and 4, that's what's called the waking hour.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when it's more likely for you to see something at that point because you're most likely at the theta stage. So you're just waking up, or you're at the most vulnerable time to see or hear or things like that. I've had experiences just within the past year, um, maybe about a year and a half. These two have happened. Going to work, I could leave about 5 o'clock, so I'm on the road close to that time frame too. And I was driving in, and I'm between two lakes, so that doesn't help much because of the lake. It is energy, it brings the energy in. So I'm near these two lakes, and I'm driving, doing about 40 underneath my car and up around, and it just followed the contour of my car. And it was so big, it took up the whole windshield. It covered my full windshield. And the odd thing about that, we do have birds that I guess are big enough to cover the windshield. But the odd thing about this one is that it went against the car. So I'm driving 40. This bird came out this way, going against me. So I'm going like this, and it comes out like this and goes up, and it never flapped its wings. So that was really weird to me. It never flapped its wings. I never saw a head on it. I didn't see anything in front of me when I was driving. So it was like a blank road, nothing out there. And then just all of a sudden, this bird's out coming in front of me. I didn't hear any of the wings. It wasn't swooping, it came out from underneath. So
Wow.
it had to be flying backwards in order to come up and around my hood. Do you know
Wow.
a bird that can fly backwards?
A hummingbird, but they're not
Hummingbird.
that big.
Hummingbirds
But they're
aren't the size of a car.
no, they're not that big. That's the only bird I know
Yeah,
is a hummingbird.
right, right. And it never flapped. I never saw a head on it. I didn't see.
It's almost like it was in front of your car and then the air flipped it up maybe, and then it just flipped up past your windshield. Like it was maybe it's on the road and the air from your car flipped it up or something. That's crazy. That's wow, man.
Yeah, it was just way too crazy because I it's like this knowing. I knew it came from underneath my car. It's like you could like see it coming
Yeah.
up and around my car. It was the craziest thing. Craziest thing. And not seeing a head on it as it was coming up. I never saw a head. I didn't see feet. All I saw was like the body of it, and the body had the colors of a hawk, and the wings
Well,
were black.
it was a big owl one night. He was coming home from community college, and he was on a little Volkswagen Beetle back in the 70s. It was I think it was a big owl come out of the cemetery, come up behind him, and it was like glided, and it would just come up right up behind the car. And the Volkswagen, the back window's not very big. The old Beetles. He
Mm-mm.
looked behind him. All he saw was these wings, and it was the wintertime, like snow, and it was one of them owls was like white looking, because the owls they look white in the wintertime, and he was freaking out. I mean, it was only like a 20-minute drive, but he was after he got home. I mean, it took him a couple hours to calm down because this thing, like you're saying, it was just covered the whole it was the back window on his. He looked in the mirror, he'd seen it coming up behind him, like dive bombed the car. And there was a lot of weird
At least
stuff
it
out
was
there.
going with the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
was
had,
going against, which is weird.
one time I wear prescription glasses, and for some reason that year I had prescription sunglasses, and I somehow I left my regular glasses at work and I drove home and it was still daylight with the prescription glasses, sunglasses on, and they're polarized. And then I got up in the morning, I'm like, where's my glasses? And I'm like, oh man, I left them at work. So I'm like, well, I can still see with these on. This, I got the headlights. I mean, everything's a little darker, but I just went ahead and went with it. And like you said, 4 in the morning, whatever, I'm going along, and all of a sudden it looks like a family of raccoons. They're like coming at me. They're like running, and I braced for impact. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 5 raccoons. And they just, when they got about to the point they were going to hit me, it was like nothing. And I stopped. I looked behind me and there's no raccoons. And I went on to work and I come home that night and I stopped and I got in this parking lot there and where it happened. I'm out looking all over the ditch for dead raccoons. But it was pretty, I think it was those polarized sunglasses. Like maybe it was, I was able to see something I couldn't normally see. So I've been wanting to experiment with go out on a night on some of these investigations with polarized sunglasses. I did get a pair of those diacetyl glasses. You're supposed to see auras around stuff. I just haven't had a chance to try them out yet. I just got them like about a week ago, and I've been dying to try those out. But I think there's something to that. I don't know what the polarization or those diacetyl. They're dyed with like a coal tar dye. They're like a blue, real dark blue. And the original ones, if you can find a set, are like $400. They're made with the original coal tar dye and all that. But I think these are like a reproduction. It's supposed to be the same effect, but uh, yeah,
Huh.
Did you have any kind of sunglasses or polarized glasses on when this bird come out?
No, just my regular glasses, my prescription glasses.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, and then not too long ago, I'd probably say maybe 2.5 months ago, I was on my way to work again. mm, Probably about half a mile prior to where the bird happened. I see these two red eyes that was going across the road, bouncing together. And they were about the distance of a lane, a car lane. Could be two different animals, right? Could be.
hmm
But
but
it just
it
had
just
a
had
weird
a
feel to
weird
it.
feel to it.
And when they
And
got to
then
the other side, there was like a ditch. And you would think it would go like this if it was going in the ditch, right? They stayed straight. And when I turned my brights on so I could see it, I realized there's no lights. It was dark. And this area always has a street light on. I had my headlights on. And when I turned my brights on to see, my brights like didn't seem to work and I saw nothing. There was nothing. It was just still dark out. So you tell me, what are your thoughts?
the same area where you're experiencing all this stuff between the two lakes there.
It was very close to the lakes. Yeah, so I was very close to the lakes. So I don't know if this was like a portal or something that I
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe you
witnessed
drive
or
through the
what.
portal, stuff's popping in and
Mhm.
popping out like the Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty crazy. And then I have a Bigfoot thing that's going on with me here. I sitting in front of my house, and I'm in a cul-de-sac, so the neighbor across the street kind of angles into another street. And in front of their house, I start hearing this really weird sound. I've never heard anybody else explain a Bigfoot sound like this, but it was like mm, sorry for my weird sounds, but it goes kind of up and down like that. It was the weirdest thing for me. And the dogs at that time were very, very quiet dogs. Never heard the dogs at that time. Um, it was not a fox Fox don't have that kind. Wolves don't have it, and we don't really have wolves around here. Um, your thoughts on that one?
It doesn't. Does it ever sound like people talking, like chattering going on or anything, or just that up and down noise?
Very loud up and down sound, and our neighbors are very quiet, so we would not have heard the neighbors.
Does the neighbors hear it too, or anybody else hear it?
My husband didn't hear it. One of my neighbors haven't heard it, but I don't talk to my other neighbors too much about it because they're not into this, you know. So I
Don't want
don't
to freak
know.
them.
Right.
Trying to think what that would be. I know they got prairie dogs out there, but I don't know if they're out of a night run around. You're in
They wouldn't have
Colorado.
that kind of sound.
There's night hawks out there, but I don't think they make that kind of noise either. Uh,
Mm-mm.
Sounds like some kind of animal or something for sure. I got a lady up here in Bee
Yeah.
Springs, Jessica, and we've had trail cams out there for over a month, and she said it just started back up. It sounds like almost like a male and female having a conversation outside her window. And then her husband hears it, she hears it, the dog hears it. When they open the blinds, look outside, there's nothing there. And they can't, they got video cameras out there, surveillance cameras, just not picking up anything. So we
Oh,
may go
really?
back and
Yeah.
do some more audio, put some audio recorders out there. Trail cameras, we got a deer family, squirrel, birds. We were hoping for some other stuff. But we may put some more cameras back out there. But I don't know if any of the cryptid guys out there, if they're watching or anybody, can, let me know if they've heard anything like that, that up and down sound like that. I've heard them whistle. I've heard the hollering and the growling and grunting. I've heard those kind of reports. But what you're saying, I mean, that almost sounds like a horse or maybe some kind of a deer or something. You got those mule deer and elk, moose, and all those
More
type
up
of
in the
animals.
mountains.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
down
we
low.
have had. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Up by Estes, we do have like the elk and all of that. Once in a while, we'll see elk down here. Not very often, but we do see elk and moose down here. We've even had bear down here. Um, but this was not anything like that.
You
It
keep
was
a
really different.
bear spray handy and maybe a firearm just in case you're going to work in the morning. There's waiting on you in the driveway.
I would welcome them. I would welcome them. I actually have a picture of a footprint that I have in my backyard, which was kind of weird. I mean, I have a picture of it. It's not like a shoe. It's 5 inches across, 12
Mhm.
inches long, which could be like a baby, a young
Well,
one.
you're not talking about a bear footprint. You're thinking you've got like a possible Bigfoot
Bigfoot.
Sasquatch footprint. Okay. We
Mhm.
found something similar to that in Mammoth Cave up in the Cedar Sink area, and it was 18 inches long. And we thought we saw toes, but it almost looked like it stepped, turned. You see like toes going this way, and then like a turn. And then we were like, well, it doesn't look like a boot. And, maybe the water washed it, or we got pictures of it. I LiDAR scanned it. I was going to go back with the plaster. And we were out mushroom hunting when we found it. And I put a stick in the ground right near the spot so I could find it. And I'm out there traipsing around for like 2 hours with this bucket of water and plaster. And I don't know how much plaster. This footprint was huge, like 18 inches. And 6 inches deep. I'm like, I brought 2 pound, two big pound bags of plaster, and I had 2 gallons of water, and I'm like, this is a big footprint. And I finally got to the spot, and it almost looked like somebody took something and like smeared it all around, and the uh, stick was like knocked over crooked, like it's almost like something was messing with me. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to get that footprint. So I still got the plaster and the water. I'm ready for the next one if we get one. But I see guys go out on these cryptid hunts, and I'm like, I don't see them hauling around 5 gallon buckets of plaster and water. I'm like, how are they casting these? Do they go back? That's what I was doing. I was going back, and I was like,
Yeah.
this has been a lot of work trying to get this footprint.
I haven't done that, but it's not very deep. But you can see the sides of it kind of pushed up a bit. So that's what I'm thinking is just a young one because of it's not very long, but it's wide. And there's no like indentation like a tennis shoe would have or anything that my husband would have. There's no like curvature in it. It's just straight. And the toes are kind of hard to see. I mean, I had to look a little hard on it, but you can kind of see the toes just a slight. So I'm thinking it's just a little one.
The juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
We were
Just a
like
baby.
sand. It was like sand, and like it had washed through there. And I'm like, did somebody step in that? Wet, then it dried, and then it didn't look like a boot print to me. So I actually had pictures. I went last year to the Bigfoot Festival in Red River Gorge, and I had Thomas Shea look at it. He's a guy in Kentucky here that tracks them. I've got one of his footprints here that he cast. And then I had Doctor drawing a blank right now. Not Bendernail. Mendenhall look at it, and he was like, definitely not a boot print, and he wasn't sure what it was. And then he passed away here last year, which we didn't even know he had cancer. I was down there talking to him like it was no big deal. And then he's the one that does all the footprints. And then Thomas Shea was there. He looked at it and he thinks it's a bear print. He thinks it was a bear, and a bear turned his foot. He was pretty sure that's what it was. And he was a tracker in the army. I think he's part native too, so he knows his stuff. Comes back to it natural, I guess. But yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't get any closure on that. But at least they told me the same thing I thought. It's not a boot print. So.
Yeah. To put a third thing into there, I do have a face of a Bigfoot in my fence.
Oh wow!
So there's a very definite face that's in the fence, and I've got pictures of that too. It's crazy. I thought that was just crazy in itself, and then I have psychics that are telling me I have them in my backyard. I have now a footprint, and I've heard them. So it's like, okay, they're here. It's pretty cool.
Dr. Melvin, that's who it was. I was drawing a blank there for a minute. But yeah, I was just really impressed with his whole presentation and getting to meet him. He was the footprint guy. I don't know who the footprint guy is now. I'd probably go get a hold of Cliff Brackman. He's very into the footprints. I talked to him and been to a couple of his presentations, and he's like, everybody says these are imaginary mythical creatures, and there's no such thing. He says, but they're leaving a lot of footprints.
Yep. We had someone earlier this year, I guess there was a sighting between Loveland and Longmont. There's a open area there, and it was right there. I guess we had a sighting there. So they're coming into the city, which I hope they're safe about it because some people just I don't know. I mean, I hope they're safe. That's all, you know.
I've got a few theories, but I want to know why aren't there aren't they seeing Bigfoot showing up at zoos? Like if they're actually like an ape or an North American ape or a primate, wouldn't you think they'd go to the zoo and try to communicate with the primates at the zoo, the gorillas, the monkeys, try to, you know, maybe because they're in a big city and they don't want to come around the big cities, whatever. But I'm thinking, wouldn't they be attracted to other primates, go in there and try to break them loose or set them free or go communicate with them or try to mate with them or whatever? I'm thinking, you don't
That's
hear
a
many Bigfoots
good
at the
thought.
zoo, showing up at the zoo, but, they go on pheromones and they smell the other primates, be like, you think they'd be hopping the fence, to get in and come in there and hang out with the gorillas, if they're actually another type of ape. I don't, in the wild, I guess, I don't know if Nat Geo's ever done a study. Do you ever see like monkeys and gorillas, little monkeys all hanging out together? They stay in their own little groups and they're kind of regional. And I know that, different climates, different type of primates, but I don't know. It's just something I've always,
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
Yeah. Well, there was the one found in, what was it, Texas? That some cryptid was outside the zoo fence. They got a picture of that. Have you seen
yeah,
that one?
looked like a dog man type creature walking along the fence. They never did find out if it was a hoax or real or what. But I know a lot of guys go deer hunt. They'll put like doe and heat uh, stuff on these little scent wicks out there. Or they'll, if they're depends on what they're hunting. They'll put different scents out there. And I'm like, well, if you're going to attract a Bigfoot, you need some primate, something that smells like a primate. And I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, they'd have Bigfoot showing up at all the zoos. So this kind of stuff keeps me up late at night trying to figure out, well, there's got to be a different way to research and try to get evidence or proof that these things are out there. And, eyewitness people that have bad accounts, there's no way you're going to convince them they didn't see what they thought, what they saw. Um, it's kind of like paranormal. Once you've experienced something, you can't say, well, I don't believe in that anymore because it just happened, there's stuff you can't explain, so you can't really say, well, that I don't believe in that. There's a lot of people, I'm a skeptic about everything. That's why I have equipment. That's one of the reasons I do all this stuff. I'm looking for answers. But once you've experienced something, you can't deny it. You can't unsee it or unexperience it. It's like, okay, what was that?
Yep. Yep. I could go into another story of mine that happened when I was about 21 or 22 years old. I moved out on my own finally, and I was living in a third floor apartment. And one night I started hearing the Siamese cat going off, doing its thing. And then I started hearing some like firecrackers inside the big trash cans that they have. So I'm just like laying there, had my eyes closed, and then something made me open my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I had a gray outside my window. I had three grays at the foot of my bed, and one
Oh,
on
wow.
the side and one in my closet. And at that time, I had a phone next to me, female by myself in this apartment in probably the not so good neighborhood. Not the worst, but not the best. And here I am trying to scream. I'm screaming in my head, so it's telepathically screaming to call my mom, which had no real relevance. My mom was 30 minutes away from me, and what's she gonna do even if she was there? But I was paralyzed, and I can move my eyes and I can move my left hand and wrist, but I couldn't move my hand or my arm from the wrist up. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up the next morning. I was waking up. I don't know if they did anything. I don't feel like they've done anything to me except protect me. when I moved into my current home, I had feelings of one of them at the end of my bed again, but this time I just felt them, and it was looking at me. And a few days later, I had the same experience. I was feeling them at the end of the bed, but this time it was watching my husband. The third time, I was in the shower and I feel something behind me. So I go to turn around and I look down at that like 3-4 foot height. So instead of like turning around and seeing like my husband's height or what, I went down to that shorter level. And it still didn't really bother me. I mean, I was just like, okay, I feel you. I know you're here. And then a little bit after that, I'm in my bedroom and I see something out the corner of my eye and I turn around and there's this shadow there. And the shadow had like a vampire cape on. So it kind of comes up high on the neck and comes down. And when I turned around, he left. And when he left, the cape kind of did a wave like this as it went. So I thought, okay, now at this point I'm into this. I have a little bit of an idea. So it's like, okay, well, this is time to smudge. So I smudged my house and I haven't seen him since. But I have had some other experiences again going to work. One time I'm going to work and I see these flashes of lights in the sky that was moving. There was 5 flashes, just like a light flashing like that. That was it. That was all I saw. I figured it could have been the airport that's nearby, the lights from the airport that swing around. And I'm like, no, can't be that because these lights went from east to west. The airport light goes west to east. So it wasn't that. So I don't know what else that could have been. I have had or heard of others seeing UFOs in Fort Collins. So I don't know if that's what I saw or what.
Did the little
To
grays,
go along. What was that?
the little grays you saw, did they communicate with you at all? Or I was going to ask you if they had clothes on or not. That you said the one had the kind of like the little vampire cape thing, but they just popped up. They didn't say like communicate through your mind or anything, or
Nope.
huh.
All I heard was me screaming to call mom. Yeah, I never heard him talking to me or anything. And the guy in the cape was a shadow ghost. So that was a shadow ghost that I saw. And yeah. And then in February of this year, I'm carpooling to work. So I have this passenger in my car and I'm driving. We get to this one spot. It's about a 15-20 second time frame that this happened in. My side of it was I just jumped out and I was behind my own head. I was energy. I didn't have a body. I didn't have anything with me. It was just energy behind me. And in my experience, I was struggling to say a single word. I couldn't say anything. I was trying so hard to get that one word out. And then next thing I knew, I was being slammed back into my body, and my body does a jiggle, a little jiggle. And I opened my eyes at that point, and I'm like, wow, this stop sign came up fast. It's my passenger. Her story was, Dana, you went into a zone. You zoned out. You started talking very slowly. So I was talking like this. And she says I wasn't driving my normal way. I was faster. and I wasn't dodging the manholes, which I don't like to drive on manholes for some reason. So I try to dodge them. And then I was zoned out, talking slow. Yeah, so that's her story. That's what she saw from me. But I carried on the same conversation that we were doing throughout our drive. Then later
So you
on
were
that day, we went. Go ahead.
you were like behind yourself, looking at yourself from behind when that happened.
Yeah,
Like
I was like out of
basically,
my body.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, I was out of my body and just energy behind me. I was just energy. There was no real thought or anything, but I knew I was trying to speak. That I had no
did it,
body. I just
before that happened. Did everything close up to a little like tiny pinhole of light, like an iris closing up? You're looking through a little dot of light, or you just all of a sudden you're behind yourself. I'm not sure what you would
Yep.
call that. It's kind of an OBE, but not. I don't know what you call that. I mean, I've experienced something like that one time before, and I didn't understand it either. I wasn't driving, but yeah. And then I've had this dream twice now, a reoccurring dream where I'm on an investigation, and I'm in a room, and I've got my equipment and everything, and it's like something just picks me up off the ground. I'm like, put me down, and it's like it didn't scare me. It aggravated me. And then like the second time it happened, I could feel something like it put up a hand or whatever, like right up between my legs. I could feel it grab me and pick me up. And it was kind of like you were saying with those grays came. I'm trying to scream like, hey, somebody open the door, come in here. This thing won't put me down, and I'm trying to fight it. And I'm trying to scream and I can't get nothing will come out. I'm like hollering and nothing will come out. She come in and turned the light on, woke me up. I was like, man, somebody finally come and save me. She's like, what's going on? I said, I couldn't get the door open. I was screaming. This thing had me off the ground. She's like, I come in here in your sleep and you were like mumbling. She goes, I was like, there's something wrong with you. So I woke you up. I was like, thank you. It's like,
yeah.
like, it's my dream. Why couldn't I control it? This thing had a hold of me, It's happened twice. I'm like, well, some point in the future, one of these investigations, I'm gonna probably do battle with something. I'm ready. Whatever happens, I'm ready for it. But I've had 2 dreams about it already, so I'm like, well, here we go. I just hope they get it on here. I want evidence.
Yeah. Yeah. And then later on that day during our break, we were talking and chattering about it. And there's this lady and her daughter that was sitting at a table next to us. And her daughter was going off about, Mom, you're crazy. You didn't see no lights in the sky and all of this. And I'm like, something happened to me. Here this happens, and on the same morning, this lady's talking about her mom seeing lights in the sky. So something happened.
Me and my buddy were out back in the 80s looking through a telescope. I think we were trying to see Halley's Comet or something. I don't remember. Anyway, we were just getting ready to go in the house, and he goes, hey, what is that? And I turn around, and it's like this bright light just appeared. And it was like super bright white, bright as the sun. And it kind of moved real slow, sideways a little bit. Then it just went shoo, and it was like it turned as it went down. It turned white, it turned green, and it turned silver, and then it was out. And I'm like, I don't know any meteorite, anything that can stop and then move sideways a little bit and then go straight down. They usually just kind of skip across the sky, or they just burn across. They don't stop, change course, do all this weird stuff. And me and him saw it, and I was like, what the hell was that? He said, man, I don't know. And the next day, my friend's mom, she was like, I was driving home last night and there was this crazy ass light in the sky and it was like white, it moved, and then it moved and it shot down, turned colors, and like, did it look green and silver? And she goes, yeah, and white. And I'm like, so kind of like you're saying, validation. Someone else saw it too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it was
And it was
really cool that I
really
had
cool
that
that I had that
experience,
experience.
that my carpool actually witnessed what I was going through, because I've had so many times that I was driving, like another time when I was younger, and this before I knew anything about this, working a night job again at that time. And so I could have been so tired. I had to be at work at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So here I
So
am.
here I
I get
am.
out of the
I get out of
house.
the
I lock the house.
house.
I and that's it.
And that's
That's all I remember.
it.
I lock the house. I don't remember turning around, walking out to the street to get in my car, driving 30 plus miles, making multiple turns, parking the car, walking into the building, which was, it was a decent walk, but not too far. Walking in, punching in, going to our morning meeting. Next thing I remember is I'm standing in front of these guys talking. I thought I was sleeping.
Automatic. Yeah, you were just going through the motions on running on autopilot. I think.
But I
I
don't
think. I,
remember any of it. Really.
oh yeah, you don't remember nothing until like all of a sudden, like I don't remember turning off at the exit. I know I had to turn off the exit because I'm here where I'm on my street. I don't remember that. Uh, the other thing that I've had happen when I was driving trucks, I was driving in a real heavy fog one night, real thick fog, and you can only see as far as your headlights. Couldn't see anything past the headlights. I remember going to Effingham, picking up a load of Coke bottles. I'm going to Michigan. I'm going through Illinois, and I remember going to I got to Central Illinois, and I think I stopped at a truck stop and got, I don't know, coffee or something. I don't know. And I'm going along this fog. The next thing I know, it's like I wake up and I'm in this truck. I'm holding the steering wheel. I'm like, where the hell am I? I'm like, oh, I'm in this truck. What the hell? I'm going down the road and like this exit for I-80 is like half a mile. I'm like there at the exit. I don't remember anything between Champaign, Illinois, and Chicago. It was like driving into that fog. I don't know if I got hypnotized by the fog, but there's curves in there. There's a lot of curves up a Kankakee, and I'm like, I don't remember any of it. I'm like, what happened? So yeah, I don't. That's like, I
Yeah,
think
many years.
we're on automatic, I guess.
Yeah, many years I'm thinking, okay, I'm sleeping and driving, which is scary as all get out. That scares me. So I live close enough to my job where I don't have a long distance. And here I am having all these other experiences in just like a 15-minute drive. And it's like, this is crazy. This is
So
crazy. What's going on here?
your psychic abilities, do you see spirits or hear them or talking to you or communicate with them or how does that work? Or you just like help people
Again,
Again,
yeah, again, going to work. I had like 2 weeks worth of having a feel of somebody in my back seat when I'm driving to work. And I keep looking in my rearview mirror, waiting to see somebody in my back seat. Never seen anybody, but I'm laying in bed, and early in the morning, I'm just laying there and I hear this raspy voice of a male saying, "Help me." And I'm like, okay, fine. I just automatically, okay, we're going to do this. And I'm like, go to the light. You have family there waiting for you. It's okay. You got this, just they're waiting for you. They want you there. Just go to the light. And I haven't heard from him since. I have seen apparitions. I have had at one of my jobs, I'm doing inventory on like this vending machine, and I'm sitting down or laying or crouched down, and I had a clipboard in one hand, and something taps the clipboard. And when I looked up, there's this guy that doesn't work there, is walking away from me. Come to find out, this was a guy that used to work there that has passed away, and he's there all the time hounding one of the other employees and turning lights on and everything else. So
Wow.
he'd come by and just tapped my clipboard. And I got to see him, and I got to see what he was wearing and everything.
Hey, I got a video I
That
want to
was
play you. This actually has to do with what you were talking about on your way to work. I want you to check this out and tell me what you think.
okay.
Have y'all seen this dash cam footage from the semi truck driver in Mexico? So this truck driver was on a delivery when his dispatch contacted him and told him he was not allowed to have passengers on this delivery. The driver was like, "What are you talking about? There's nobody in the cab with me." When his dispatch was like, "Yeah, there is. They're in the passenger seat. We see them on the cameras." Now this driver swears up and down that there was nobody in the passenger seat. And the person that is sitting next to him doesn't appear to have a jaw, and their eyes are glowing. The driver believes that he had some sort of spirit in the truck with him. Now, I used to work security for a warehouse, so I got to talk to a lot of semi-truck drivers, and I've heard all kinds of stories similar to this, like apparitions of hitchhikers. When the truck driver would stop, there would be nobody on the side of the road, or even stories about them picking up a hitchhiker and the hitchhiker not talking the whole time, them stopping at a gas station or a rest stop and the hitchhiker just disappears. I don't know, what do you think? You think this is some sort of apparition in the car with this man, or is it a hoax?
Thought you might enjoy that. I don't know if that was
I've
AI.
heard
Or,
those stories.
I've seen that video like 3 different people reporting on it. I'm like, oh, is that supposed to really from a dispatcher telling, watching the dash cams? When I drove, we didn't have cameras in the trucks. It was a long time before we actually got cell phones in the truck. Then we ended up with that satellite, tracks you. You can type messages, but it's called a Qualcomm. But we never had cameras in the truck. I don't know if I'd like that or not. But I guess it'd be nice if somebody's monitoring it. Like, hey, you're nodding off. Hey. So it might be a good thing. One of your other abilities is the ability to look at a photograph and pick up things from it. How does that work?
When it's like reading somebody's eyes is how I do it. So when I have a picture of somebody and I get in tuned with that person and its spirit, I like start hearing different things about their past, their life that was in that photo. So like an example at work, I had a friend that brought in a picture of her friend's mom that had passed away. And I'm like got in tune with her, and I started thinking, okay, she was like an only child. She did this and she liked to do that, and she was like very artsy or whatever, you just kind of like see the story, but I don't really see the story. I just like know the story. It's like a claircognizance. So it's like a just a knowing. Um, you kind of just get the feel that this is what they did, and she's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So she took the picture back to her friend, and she's like, well, this lady at work was saying this and this and this and this about this picture about your mom. And she comes back the next day, and her friend was saying, you need to get away from that person. She knows way too much. So
What happened
you just get a feel.
if you look at a picture of someone who's still alive, just like your husband or friend or somebody that's still alive? Do you get any kind of messages from that too, or just looking at deceased people?
I kind of do that when I'm looking at people. A lot of times I don't mean to do this, but sometimes somebody's eyes will catch me. And when I see the eyes, and you just kind of read the body too, and the body kind of tells me like different stories about what's going on. I kind of feel like, okay, this person's having a really hard time right now, or this person is just kind of had a really rough childhood, or they just kind of look like they're like something's going on in their life that is just off. There's something off about their life. I don't tell people about that, when I'm reading like that, but it just kind of comes to me when I'm looking. It's like you read body language. It's kind of that sort of thing. You read their eyes, you read their face. There's different lines in the face that just kind of seems to tell me a different story. So when I'm reading a photo, I'm reading kind of the clothing. It's like the clothing tells the story about who they are. The way their skin is, it kind of tells me, like, are they hardworking? Like if I see a picture of an older person, I can see, okay, this person was really hardworking. It was like they did something in construction, or they were something more in the office type of work. You can kind of see how their body has been built and how it's been used. Yeah.
Were you able to see the picture I sent you of the lady who went missing over here in Kentucky? Did you get any vibes off of that? I don't know if you were able to open that up or.
I have not been able to open that up. I'm sorry.
I'm curious to see what you get off of that picture because they're still trying to determine if she's alive, or deceased, what happened to her, and it's a big cold case. Well, it's not really cold, but it's went cold. But it's still an active investigation. We we
Yeah.
kind of we got involved with something like that over in Illinois at Ren Lake. It was Wayne Fitzgerald State Park, and there was a lady that all they found was her head, and two little girls found her back in the '90s, and
Mm.
they didn't know who she was. They called her Ina Jane Doe because the closest town was Ina. And anyway, I got an uncle. His brother's a detective over there. We actually went out with our equipment to see if we could pick up on anything in the campground where it happened. We didn't really get a whole lot, but I don't know if he said something to his brother or they just were working on it. But this happened back in the '90s. It was about 2 years ago. They were able to get DNA off the the hair. There was a hair still attached after all these years, and they said she had what they call Ryan neck syndrome, like she had a problem with her neck. They figured that out, and anyway, they found out who she was. And I think she was in northern Tennessee, down south of between the lakes there. So they identified who she was. So the family got closure. Like, well, we know our mom's passed away, but they never did find the rest of the body. All they found was these two little girls out hiking around the campground found the head. So I can't imagine that the trauma those little girls went through, but
Mhm.
they never did figure out what happened to the body. I might send you that picture of that lady too, because they did all they had was a composite kind of a picture of what they thought she looked like, and whatnot, because there was some, decomposition and whatnot. But those are two cases that we've been kind of. I had a lady on my team. She's a Reiki master, Jennifer, and it was her best friend's daughter, the one that went missing over in the Kyler Bottoms. It's over by Paducah, and that's one where it's been going on 8 years now. We're still trying to get some, information what happened. I did have a remote viewer lady friend of mine in California. She looked at the pictures and sent me a drawing, like of a house and a car. That house used to be a church. And so I did pass that on to the father. I'd like to go over there with a whole team of psychics. Like, let's figure out what happened. Because I don't know if you're familiar with John Edward. he does a lot of public, like in a auditorium type setting. People come in, they want to hear from their loved ones. He's famous for that, but he's been working all this time with the FBI, helping them find missing people and whatnot. And a lot of it was all top secret. But recently, the guy retired he was working with, and they're writing a book together about it. So he can talk about it now, but I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if you ever been involved in anything like that, missing persons or law enforcement trying to help find somebody, or
That's kind of interesting. I have not. But within the last couple weeks, I've actually gotten some visions of this girl. I probably shouldn't go into much detail because I'm not sure if this person is living or if this has happened so far, but I have had a visual of this female coming out of her body spirit wise, and had some other two visions of this lady. And so I don't know what the story is. So I'm still kind of working on it. So I probably shouldn't say too much more, but it was very interesting. And I do have two friends that do cold cases. And so I'm talking with them and trying to see what they can help me out with and see how I can find more information out on this person and see if she's still living or if she has passed. So, or it could be just a lesson for me to start up on that journey, which is
so
exciting.
that is exciting. You can help, that's a win-win right there. My guy Gary on my team, he's our clairaudient. He's one that hears stuff talking to him. It's been a couple years ago. We were going to a cemetery. It's a very popular cemetery here in Kentucky. They call it Hell's Gate. Bishop Long out of Louisville is one that would give it that name based on some of the activity that's going on and stuff that happened to him there. And the actual cemetery is Casey Cemetery. It's up by E-Town. We were going up there to investigate. I had a guy at work. He'd been out there and seen a couple things. It's just very well known for activity. So we're driving up there, and Gary's like, as far as I know, Gary only hears spirits. We're driving, and he says, "Hey, Ernie says hi." I'm like, Ernie? He goes, "Yeah, I said good working with you." I'm like, I don't remember any Ernie. We're driving along. About a half hour later, he's like, "Hey, yeah." He goes, "Ernie again." He says, "Good working with you." All right. I didn't think anything of it. We get up to E-Town. We're turning down this road. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Ernie again." I'm like, "What's up with this Ernie guy?" Trying to contact us while we're driving down the road. What's going on here? We pull up to Casey Cemetery. There's a black truck sitting there, parked sideways. Husband and wife come walking out of the cemetery. Like, "Hey, just want to introduce you to myself. I'm Ernie Pack with Pac-Man Paranormal. It's my wife Denise. We're out here checking out the cemetery. So it's kind of windy and cold. We're gonna go to one other cemetery. We're not getting a lot of activity out here, but I just want to let you know, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, Phil Billy with the Supernatural Investigation Squad. Gary's over here by a tombstone talking to some little girl, whatever, Mary Elizabeth. I come over there and I'm like, Gary, I just met your Ernie. He's not a spirit. All the way there, he's talking about this Ernie. As soon as I get there, there's this guy named Ernie. I'm like, what's up with that coincidence? I'm like, I don't know any Ernies. Turtle Man, Ernie, I'd like to do some stuff with him, but that's the only Ernie. But I don't know him personally either. I've talked to him. Not something that was pretty
it's
weird.
very
Up on this guy, and it's like I would like to do some work with Ernie. Like he's got the Ditto House, and he's got the battlefield up there, the fort. It's not a battlefield; it's a fort. I think might have been a battle around there, but anyway, he's got the fort, and you can go out there and do a paranormal investigation at the old fort. And they're also having some cryptid activity. there too. So they found some really big footprints. They're, I think, 45 inches between the strides, and it's just the strides alone are more than a human could do. So it pretty interesting. I don't know if you've had any kind of experiences like that where you're thinking it's a spirit, then you go talk to somebody and they're like, no, he's alive. He's I'm gonna send you some
not
stuff.
necessarily like that.
I've got some picture stuff for you. I'm gonna send you, have you check it out, see what you come up with, or your
Yeah,
team.
go ahead.
So do you have any
Yeah,
books
let's
or
see.
any? You have
Do
a
I have
group?
any books?
Yeah, paranormal group, or I know you have a podcast too. If you want to mention that too, we'll check it out.
Yeah,
I'd like to come on sometime.
I'm yeah, no, I'm starting to connect with some paranormal investigators, so I'm gonna be going out and doing some stuff like that. I'm also connecting with some Bigfoot researchers, so that'll be exciting to have some experience with that. Um, as for my podcast is Light Talk with Dana, and we're on YouTube, on my Facebook, and on X. And we talk about people's experiences with the paranormal and supernatural. So it's just kind of helping people know out there that this stuff is real. It's not imagination. It's not a little kid talking to an imaginary friend. These people are really talking to these other entities, and that's what we're about, is just spreading the word that it's out there. Yeah.
Like Talk with Dana on YouTube and X and Facebook. Yeah. When people have stuff happening like that, sometimes they're like, "Am I losing it? Am I crazy?" And then pretty soon somebody else in the house is experiencing something. They're like, "Well, if you're crazy, I am too," because we both just had stuff going on here. We both heard something walking around or something tapping on the wall, and a lot of people, it's they just need some reassurance. Like, look, you're not crazy. There is something weird going on. Okay, to go and check out the house, and I'm like, I'm usually relieved when it's just the furnace, or it's, they need to trim the bushes and the wind's banging them on the house. I kind of like those investigations. We're like, okay, we trim the bushes, we fix the air conditioner, whatever it was, the problem went away. It's the weird ones where that's like, okay, I think I need the whole team to come in on this one. There's something going on. We're not sure what it is. That's when you start going down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what's going on and then try to help these people. So some people are very desperate, and it's just a little aggravating to me when there's other teams and they won't even reply back to them, or they won't, they don't want to get involved, or blow them off, or they want to charge them money. We don't ever charge to go out and help somebody in their house. Having something freaking out, they're having a actual, haunting or poltergeist activity, or just, even if it's not, we're not going to charge somebody for that. Go out and help them with the house, and so that's kind of how we operate. We had a thing up in Indiana one time. They give us some gas money, whatever. We're cool with that if they want to donate, but we don't ever ask for payment for anything we do. And we just like helping people, and it's kind of our hobby too, but we take it very serious. I like to joke around. I make all little fun little gadgets and stuff. And speaking of which, I got something I got to show you here. I do this every podcast, so I think it's time.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit where they have Christopher Walken and they're playing the song, and Will Ferrell plays the cowbell, and he's like, "Guys, I need more cowbell. Need a little more cowbell." So I've actually got a device. I got a cowbell on there. We call it the Paramoo, and then I've got since you can't have enough cowbell, we got another cowbell. We call that one more cowbell, and we take it out all the time. And I also use it to set other equipment on and stuff. It's dual purpose, but so far we've only had the striker barely move inside the bell. Nothing's been strong enough to ring the bell, but one of these days something's going to ring that cowbell. And then Cammy Girl says she's going to run to the car when that happens. She's already got a plan.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of go into that area. I feel like I've learned enough right now that now it's time to get my hands wet, get my hands into it, and get out there and do the stuff now. I feel prepared enough to start experiencing, see where that leads me.
Uh,
I'm
Part of your
excited.
preparation, you can't over prepare enough, but always,
Mm.
unless somebody's with you, let them know where you're going, that kind of stuff, when you expect to be back. Maybe even say some protection prayers. Sometimes people take protective stones with them, like tourmaline, uh, different things like that. Um, if you're dealing with something real nasty, sage usually doesn't work. So, Palo Santos is nice too, but kind of helps clear out the house, makes it smell good and airy, and makes everybody feel good. But if it's something really bad, you're probably going to have to bring in a clergy, a demonologist, or Catholic bishop, or somebody to that effect, or a deliverance minister if you get into something like that. And the one thing I can't stress enough, and it sounds silly, but when you leave an investigation, always say, "You cannot come with me." Whatever's there, it's still like you're talking to this invisible man. Kind of like the Greys. They're there, but you can't see them. Kind of things like, look, you cannot come with me. You have to stay here. If you're at a cemetery or something like that, if you're at someone's home, I don't ever say it has to stay there because they want it. They may want it gone. I don't want to tell it to stay there, so I just tell it you can't come with me. And so most people, if they're really experiencing something bad, they want it gone. Something else I do every week, I got some. People think objects can have attachments, so I've been testing out different dolls, clowns, ventriloquist mannequins, and that kind of stuff. And we got two new dolls this week. I've had a K2 meter, pick up EMF, and I've had a couple cat balls going the whole time. But nothing's went off. I've got one doll. She set off cat balls at least 4 times on my podcast live. So I might want to do some more testing with her, some more communicating. But I've already got a little. I don't know if I want to part with her or all the ones that tested negative. I may just pass them on to some new owners. But the one that's actually set my equipment off, may want to do some more testing with her. She might have her own little. I might have a little glass case for her to go in. But so we got one laying down this week, and we got this one. I think it's a Cinderella. She's actually got a glass slipper comes with her, and I just picked these up here and there, and so I've been testing. I bet I've got 25, 30 dolls, and so we got old people dolls, we got babies, I got a couple Amish ones. Anyway, I didn't see anything tonight. I don't. No cat balls went off or anything. That's usually what happens. Nothing. Same way with an investigation. You're wanting to go out and investigate. Just don't plan on anything happening. A lot of stuff you see on TV is made up, or they might have been filming for weeks before they get any evidence at all. Um,
Yeah.
I was probably going out. I've been interested in this stuff since the '80s, but have my own formal team going out. It's been about 5 years, but I think it was a year and a half, 2 years before I got my first what I would consider an EVP, and just a lot of just sitting there for hours, nothing. You're not getting anything on video, or you might get a bug, or you might get crickets or frogs, or whatever background noise. But I mean, don't be upset if nothing happens for a while. You may go on a lot of investigations and just and sometimes equipment will go off, and I'm like, okay, what's setting that equipment off? trying to debunk everything. But when something comes up next to me and or like I feel a static, like my hair on my arm go up, or I'll feel something touch my hand, or you smell something. With most time, I don't have any. I don't feel nothing. I'll go to the house. They're like, "Man, it's heavy in here." I'm like, "Okay, I don't feel anything." But I have had stuff where I smelled it, like I had flowery smell one time in this house, and we were like doing a group thing, and the lady in the corner smelled it. She goes, "Anybody smell perfume?" We're like, "No." And then the next lady, there was about five more ladies. And there was another lady. She's like, "I'm smelling." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." And then pretty soon I smelled like almost like somebody with a perfume on was sauntering around this room and went on out. I've had that happen. I was in an attic in an old house. Uh, I call it getting stink bombed. It was almost like somebody come up next to you and sprayed some fart spray or some kind of stinky stuff and then took off running. It was that intense. And the lady next to me, she's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "You smell it too?" She goes, "I didn't do it." I said, "I didn't do it either." I said that. She goes, "What the hell was that?" I said, "I think we just got stink bombed." I don't know. Like we're dealing with something nasty up in this attic, and then it just went away. It was just like super intense and then gone. And so,
I had that just today.
ah,
I had that just today. We're working on our back deck, redoing our deck, and I was taking boards out to the back and going through the garage. I smelled this like a cow. I don't have
ah,
any cows nearby me. There's no cows nearby, but smelled this cow like in one breath.
wow.
And then I come back for another board, and I'm walking back and I smell it again, but just a few steps further.
Huh.
Just that real quick little sniff there, and it's like, what's
I
going
haven't had a
on
cow.
here?
I think I've been stink bombed. I had the perfume smell. That was in the Trousdale house down in Gallatin, Tennessee. And then this, it was a Chestnut house over in, I think it's Mansfield, Kentucky, is where I got the attic. Uh, and then we were at a cemetery. I think it's called Asbury Cemetery. It's over on the west side of Kentucky Lake, over there. I think that's Benton. And two of us experienced what smelled like somebody was smoking a cigar. It smelled like cigar tobacco, uh, which was pretty wild because nobody was smoking anything at the time. So I was like, we're out there by ourselves. Everybody else is back in the car. So we're like, okay. So with me, it smells I picked up. I didn't even think I had any kind of abilities at all. But the smells definitely, either I'm smelling something. I don't know. It wasn't me. So
Yeah, everybody has some sort of skill. I had a smell thing going on there for about 2 months. I kept smelling cigarettes, whether I was in my car, here at home, which I don't smoke. I'm against it. I don't like the stuff. It just, ugh.
Mhm.
But my husband doesn't smoke. Nobody smokes in my home. And I'm smelling smoke here at home. I'm smelling smoke in the car. I'm smelling smoke at work. And I'm like telling the spirit, whoever you are, I don't care if you're here, but please take the cigarettes away, you know? And it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And I finally got to the point where I took this breath and I felt like I took a puff. My throat burned. And then I started getting a headache. And I get headaches with cigarette smoke, anyways. It just gives me
Yeah.
a headache. And so it's like, okay, that's enough. You have got to get rid of this cigarette smoke. It's done. It's over with. Again, I don't care if you're here, but get rid of it. And about 20 minutes later, I started smelling waffles and maple syrup. I was like, what's going on?
He made you
I
a
think it
waffle.
was my mom. Because she was a smoker, and so it was, and she loved her sweets. So I think it was my mom. I just had to chew on her because I always chewed on her. My whole life, I chewed on her for smoking. So, um, I think it was her.
Could be. I'm wondering if the smell is like a low level ability because, like, when I have had this happen to me, there's usually other people around smell it too. It's not like I'm walking. I'm not always by myself anyway on investigation, but almost just about every time someone else had the same smelled the same exact thing about it's around the same time I did. So maybe it's maybe that's maybe it was so intense, Uh, but it's like, okay, you can make the smell, but how come you can't pick something up and throw it? Like, let me know you're here. That kind of thing. That's why I'm always like, wanting to get something on camera or trying to get validation. We have had times where someone was doing the Estes method with they had sound deadening headphones on and they would get a name, and then someone at the other end of the house, like my friend Gary, he would hear a name, and then 10 minutes later we're clear at the other end of the house, and Cindy got the same name. We're like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then I have had people's name come up on equipment, which I thought was pretty odd before. So can't really explain it. I was at a house where uh, it said they had two devices. They had an obelisk there, and it was saying hurt neck and boards, and then somebody on the headphones was doing Estes, and they got the name Keith, and it said, "I'm sorry." And the homeowners were like, "Time out, stop. We got to talk to you." I said, okay. So the obelisk had hurt neck and boards, and the dad had been working on the house. The back porch, there had been a tornado, and the porch was all messed up. He was up there trying to fix it, and he fell. And it was a metal roof, and with boards, and it all fell on him. And when they found him, he was laying there with the boards on his neck. That's how he passed away. His name was Keith. So she got Keith, and the obelisk got hurt neck and boards all in the same, like within the same minute. All this happened. Like, okay, well, there's some validation there. I'm like, we didn't know anybody's name before we went there. The one psychic lady that I had with me that night, she was picking up David. She got David, and we got in the house. She got David again, and then I'm like, you guys know anybody named David? They're like, no. And she said, well, there are 11 spirits on this property, according to the psychic. I'm like, we got their names? She's like, no, just David. She never got Keith at all, but the equipment did. Through the Estes, the other, the obelisk device got the hurt neck boards and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay. And I always tell people I don't want to know, I want to test out my people, my mediums, my psychics, my sensitives. I don't want to know names or anything like. A lot of people will research and they're like, anybody ever died in this house? They're looking up the names, looking up how they died, and all stuff. We don't always. We might do that later to validate something we found, like a name came up. But going in, we like to go in blind and see what we get.
I'm the same way. I think I would like to go in blind and not know what's going on.
Yeah,
That way
yeah.
I know where my abilities are and everything. I did check out a friend's house. She asked me to come over and kind of see what I can find on that. And I did pick up on a shadow ghost that was hanging around that she's seen. I also picked up on a female that was in her bathroom that no one else has picked up on. Um, I even got her having kids and everything. So that was pretty cool with me. I also did some. I just lost the name. But I was in her basement and she had this cabinet, and I touched it just to see what I can get, and I did see where this cabinet was at in the house. So I got the picture of that. So statics. That's all I can think of right now. Anyways, yeah. um, but yeah, I've gotten things like that. I've heard my name several times. I was in my basement sleeping one time, and I heard my name being called. I heard it saying like Dana, and I wake up and I'm like, what? And then again, I'm hearing, Dana. I'm like, what? I'm answering you. What do you want? And then I heard it again. I'm like, okay, you're not answering me. I'm just going to go back to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep. So I went to sleep, and I wake up the next morning. I'm like, wait, that was a female voice. I'm the only female in this house. It's like, wait, what's going on here?
That would be pretty
So
wild.
that was kind of crazy. And the first time I really heard a name, I'm sitting here, I'm getting a massage, and they had to have been working on my front side. So I'm laying there, I'm just like, okay, I'm bored, just laying here. So I'm going to see if I can pick up on somebody in the room. Well, I did. And they came across and they said the name Amy. I bounced up because I wasn't expecting it. So I bounce up and I'm like, oh man, I probably showed her everything. So, but anyways, I'm like, did you hear the name Amy? And she's like, no. I'm like, did you have any employees here by the name of Amy? No. I'm like, okay, don't mind me. I'll just lay back down. It's like, she probably thought, okay, other people here, don't do her. She's crazy. But yeah, but I did find out through the guy that got me into this, had me understand what was happening throughout all these experiences growing up in the work world. He connected with this Amy and found out this Amy was a sister of mine in a past life.
Wow. That's
So
pretty
that was
bizarre.
really pretty cool. Yeah, so that was
Hanging
really
out with you
cool.
and getting massage and stuff. It's just like, what up?
Exactly. It was really cool, really cool. And another time I'm sitting there at work and I'm looking out this window and I see this girl out there, and it's like I knew who she was the instant I saw her. I see this girl, this image of this girl, and it's like, hello, because I had a miscarriage at 6 weeks. I was 6 weeks along and I had a miscarriage, and this was my baby girl that I
Oh,
had. And she stood in front of me, and I was like, that is awesome. So I kind of got a quick picture of her. And then last summer, I'm talking to my brother, and my brother starts telling me about his ability to see my mom that has passed and our uncle that has passed. And I'm like, oh, that is so cool, because I haven't heard him really talk about this. And he's like, yeah, I see him just like you're standing here. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Here I'm struggling trying to do this stuff, and here you are just doing it. So I'm like, why don't you call in a Monica? And he goes, okay. Yeah, she's here. And so her and I started talking. We talked and we cried and we hugged each other via my brother. And we're just having this whole conversation. And I finally asked him, I go, do you know who Monica is? And he's like, no. I go, that was my miscarriage. That's my baby. And he
oh,
just
wow.
freaked out. He's like, what? That's my niece.
So,
So that
so a miscarriage, and you said you see her standing there. So she's basically presenting you her best image of herself, basically, because she was never fully born. Now, I've got into a weird case where this little baby was born, but it only lived one day. And we were in a cemetery, and I got a friend that passed away, and we went over there a couple times, me and my sister, and we'll take different equipment, just see if anybody comes through. I'm like, well, I knew this guy, so we got the SLS out there, and we're like, hey, anybody here, and this like a stick figure pops up, but it's on the ground, and it comes out, and it's like crawling, on the ground. It almost looks like one of them on The Walking Dead, the crawler that comes out. The ones that can't get up, and walk, they're just crawling around. That's what it reminded me of. And I was like, that's weird. And a couple of years later, we're back, same spot, same tombstone, same cemetery. We're like, hey, you want to say hi? This stick man pops up again, crawling. And every time it shows up and it's crawling, I'm like, I don't get this. Sometimes I go and I don't get nothing on this camera. I'm like, is it even working? Sometimes it'll you'll get false positives, like it'll pick up a lamp or a tripod or a vacuum cleaner, whatever. But most times cemeteries, I get nothing. Once in a while I pick up a tombstone and think it's something that kind of like does its thing, figures out it's nothing. This one comes out crawling every time. So finally, we go over there and I'm like, well, this is my buddy's tombstone. I look at the one right next to it because it always kind of seems to come out next to his. And I was like, who's next to him? And we looked at it and it was a little baby. It only lived 1 day. I said, that's why it's coming out on the ground like crawling. It never learned how to walk. It never but that's all I could think of is, and it happens at the same stone and it's crawling. I'm like, it's got to be the little baby, And that's my theory. But then I have had people talk about their babies that miscarried, and they'll see them like a little child standing there or whatever. Or if someone passes away, they're older, they'll come to you in a dream. They're like, maybe they died in their 70s. They come back in a dream, they're like 35 and their hair's fixed. And it's like their best image of themselves. That may be what you were experiencing with Monica there.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I saw her, she was like in like 11, 12 years of age. So she was much older, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see her. And when my brother and I was talking, well, when my brother was mediating for us, it was just beautiful. And he was able to touch her. He goes, yeah, she just touched my hand. She's so soft and she's just so, it was so beautiful. So beautiful. And he's like, she just hugged me. She just gave me this big hug for you. And I'm like, it's like, it just felt so amazing. We ended up talking for like 3 hours with her.
Wow.
It was amazing.
So sounds like your whole is this other people in your family have similar abilities? Sounds like did any of your grandparents or your parents have any of those kind of abilities as well, or?
I don't know about anybody outside my family, but my brother has it. My oldest sister has premonitions. In her dreams, she'll have premonitions. My sister, between the two of us, she's a Reiki master. She gets some of the stuff, and then me. And my dad has mentioned that he has felt my mom's presence since she passed. So my dad has it too. And my mom never believed it. So, but my brother also got to see my mom. He was in the room when she passed, and he got to see her go through the tunnel. He got to see the tunnel and her walking through it. So that was pretty freaking amazing. I'm just like, that is so cool. That is so cool.
And he's communicated with her afterwards. Your mother,
she'll be sitting. Yeah, my brother sees her periodically. She'll be just sitting at a table like she always was. And so he gets to see her and see our uncle all the time,
Wow.
And it's really cool. I think it's awesome for him.
I think everybody's abilities are different, but like my clairaudient Gary, he'll hear things talking to him. And sometimes they say, I need help. I'm lost. I don't know where to go. I don't, why am I still here? He'll tell them, you need to go to the light. Just go to the light. And they might be like, oh, I'm scared. He's like, it's okay. Just go to the light, And he'll be talking to him. He said, "Well, they're going." Like, what do you mean? He goes, "Once they go to the light, he can't hear me." So his ability, basically, once they pass to the light, wherever they go, the light, he can't hear him anymore. And then, like, like what your brother's saying, like Teresa Caputo, John Edward, those kind of psychics, they're communicating with your loved ones after they went on to the light or wherever. But his gift's completely different. Once they gone, he can't hear me. So I don't know how it all works, but it seems like everybody's got different
Yeah.
versions, of, that are sensitive.
Mhm. I had a friend from high school. He was wheelchair bound, and we'd mess with each other. He'd chase me around, and I'd threaten to unhook his battery so he couldn't move. And yeah, I'd mess with him. It was crazy, but when we graduated, I spoke with him the last time. He was saying that he was coaching football and all of this, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I get it. I know that I know you. I know you well enough. You're gonna do anything you want. Um, Even though I was curious how he was doing this, but anyways, he was saying that he was coaching football, and then I started having this like thought: how was he walking? Was he not? I mean, how you know he was born with this, so he was never able to walk, and it's like just the questioning. And then I have this dream that I was in his bedroom, and it was pure white. Everything was white in there. Um, and he's standing up off of his bed, and I'm sitting across from him, and he stands up and he starts walking towards me, pretty wobbly, but he started walking towards me. I find out about 10 years later he had passed about that time that I had that dream.
Oh wow!
And so that was really cool. I felt privileged to be able to see him, to see him walk, to know that he is walking now. He answered my question. You know, I I know he's walking, and it's awesome. It's pretty cool.
I talked to Chip Coffee, another psychic. He does a lot of paranormal stuff. He's on some different programs and whatnot. But I asked him, I was like, okay, so Alzheimer's, that's a big one. After you pass away, do you still have Alzheimer's after you pass away? Or, you know, and he's like, no, everything, it all clears up. He said, everything comes back. Uh, he said, so once you pass on, like you're saying that he could walk, or it's like you get all your memories back or your cognition back if you had Alzheimer's or dementia or that kind of thing. I'm like, well, that's good to know. At least you're not still in a fetal position in your next chapter, in this world or the next world or so that
Yeah,
just that
you're all healthy.
yeah, like the cancer cures up, the dementia's gone, all that. I'm like, okay, well, that's a good positive message to tell everybody. I'm like, I wish more psychics would tell us that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when you leave here, everything's gone. Uh, that stuff leaves and is staying in your body. You do have like a imprint, a memory of all that. Some people can carry that into their next life. Um, let's say you have bad knees, or you have something wrong with your back, and you don't know what's happened. You never had anything happen to your knees or your back or anything like this, but they hurt all the time. Well, it could be an imprint from your previous life or a past life that has been traveling with you, and it hasn't been resolved yet. It could have been you hurt your knees in that past life. It could have been that like me, I have neck issues. My neck is always tight, and everything. So I have neck issues. And I found out I have neck issues because I was hung in a past life. So
Ooh.
I have this issue with my neck because that kind of messed up my neck when I was hung. So things can come forth from your past lives.
So your past life, do you know what you were hung for? Or when? Or who hung you? Or why? Or...
Not exactly sure why, but when I had a quick past life regression, I saw myself walking into town like in the 1800s. So there's like your small town, dirt road, and you have like 3, 4 stores in the town, right? So I see myself walking into town. I'm a male. And next thing, I'm at the counter of the general store picking up a rifle. I had just bought a rifle. My next scene, I was walking out of town. Then the next scene, I'm in this tree. I'm looking out. Like, I love Little House on the Prairie, so I always bring it to that. So Little House on the Prairie, you kind of see this one lone tree, and then you're looking out, and it's all prairie. I was like in that tree, and I was facing the prairie, and I can hear all the men back behind me chattering. Then next thing I know, my head goes down.
Oh.
So yeah. What happened? I don't know. What I'm kind of gathering is that somebody was messing with my wife, and I took care of them. I don't know. Yeah. So things like that can travel with you.
All that, yeah. My last whoever I was before must have had sciatic trouble. They had this sciatic going on the last few weeks, but they I had an old injury. It's been like 20 years ago. And I didn't realize that I got knocked off a ladder by a mule in a barn and landed on my left foot, and my heel broke, and it broke 3 pieces. They got screws in there and put it back together. Well, that's what was hurt was my foot. Well, nobody's ever checked anything else on me, and I was having this sciatic trouble, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get a shot. The doctor gives you a shot, and it's like I'm still having trouble. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to one of these chiropractors. Go chiropractor. And he said, well, let's X-ray you. And I'm like, all right. Come in a couple days later. He goes, well, your one leg is an inch higher than your other, and the one I landed on, that one's just shoved up in my hip, pushing my spine over. And on the other side is where I'm having all this sciatic trouble. He said, I'm surprised you haven't had sciatic trouble before now. I'm like, what are we going to do? And he said, well, you're going to adjust it, keep making adjustments to try to get my legs the same length. He's like, you ever been to a foot doctor? I'm like, yeah, for other problems, plantar fasciitis, whatever. I finally fixed it with different shoes, inserts. He's like, did they ever offer to give you a wedge? I'm like, for what? He's like, because your one leg's an inch longer. I said, well, that explained why my shoes were funny on the bottom. But on an investigation, I'm the first one to tell you if the floor's like not level. I can pick out an unlevel floor like that, but it's because I'm not.
And then when you feel level, then it's got to be unlevel.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it was from that accident, and I don't think I'm thinking I'm gonna give somebody sciatic trouble in my next life. They're gonna be like, damn.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I think that's.
There's
I'm gonna
people
pass
that have. There's people that have like scars. They were born with these scars that they have no idea where they came from, and that could be from a past life too.
Yeah, I watched the program think it was on Netflix. I think it's called Life After Death or something like that. There was a little kid, and he claimed to have been in a a World War II. I think he was shot down. He was telling his name of what boat he was on and what plane he was flying. Mom's like, whatever. And then he kept getting more detailed. Finally, the dad's like, I'm going to Google that. He's like, they didn't have any plane, that particular plane. They didn't have that plane on that ship, whatever. And then somebody went to the library and researched it. And there was some special mission where one time only they had those three planes, that type, on that ship. And then the guy's name, and it all added up. So they actually, when he was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, they took him to Southeast Asia and actually took him to the spot where his plane went down. And I guess he got real emotional, and they laid a wreath out, like a lay thing for him and all that. And that was pretty cool. And then I saw another one where this guy claimed to be an actor. And he wasn't like a real popular actor. He was like a backup actor. But he'd been in a lot of movies and whatnot. And he'd saying who he was, what his name was. And finally, his mom's like, whatever. She pulled up this book from the library and like, yeah, that's me. And he was talking about his kids and everything else. She found out his daughter was still alive. So he's like 15 at this point. Some of it's kind of faded out. He wasn't, it wasn't as vivid as when he was like 3 years old. But he actually went there and met the daughter. And she's like in her 70s now, whatever. And they get to talk. And there was stuff only her dad would have known that this kid was telling her. It was a pretty interesting program. So, I think there's something to that. 9/11, there was over 3,000 people died. And exactly 3 years later, there's all these little kids, they turn 3. And something happens when they're 3. They're talking about, well, I was in an office. I jumped out the window, or like my building fell down. It's all these kids 3 years later talking about, I was basically talking about the recounting of 9/11 like they were there. And these little kids wouldn't have known nothing about it. They were 3. They're not old enough to even, read yet or anything, so it was pretty wild. So, yeah, I believe there's something to that with the scars and the birthmarks, reincarnation.
Yeah. I would love to have I haven't had anybody on my podcast about that, but I would love to have somebody that remembers their past life like that, to experience that is just amazing. Because I've seen shows too where there's this 3-year-old that's drawing out the Titanic and drawing
wow.
in things that nobody saw because it was all in the basement and all of this and he's like, he was blaming himself for all of that happening. This little child was like, I should have done this. I should have done that. And it's like, because he knew and to use a certain type of metal or something like that and building it. And the other people didn't use that. And so he was blaming himself for like the Titanic going down, and he showed and designed and had names and everything of all this equipment that was built underneath. And what happened? He was telling what happened. This broke because this was in this metal, and all of this is like, whoa, detail. Amazing.
Well, I think we went over our time a little bit. I do appreciate you coming on. I would like to come on your podcast sometime. I got a lot of stories as well. Some of my team members might want to come on too. That kind of thing. I do appreciate you coming
That would
on.
be awesome.
And I'm going to leave you with that. Appreciate you coming on my Supernatural Sundays. And it's been very interesting. And you have a good rest of the week. And thank you very much. And we're going to sign off.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You have a good one now. Come on.